Ready to uncover the scandalous truth Mastercard doesn't want you to know? In finance, a hidden battle unfolds, and we're exposing it all. Welcome back to our channel for eye-opening financial stories. In this mind-blowing video, we dive into Mastercard's hidden charges. Subscribe and hit the bell icon to not miss an update. Mastercard quietly imposes controversial charges on merchants. How do these changes affect you? Join us to expose the untold story of Mastercard's hidden agenda. Let's jump in. Let's start by talking about interchange fees. You might be wondering, what exactly are interchange fees? Well, these are transaction fees that merchant bank accounts must pay whenever a customer uses a credit or debit card to make a purchase. But here's the twist. These fees aren't just pocketed by the merchants, they are paid to the card-issuing banks. Why do merchants have to pay these fees, you ask? It's to cover various costs, such as handling expenses, fraud, and bad debt costs, and even the risk involved in approving the payment. It's like a hidden cost that often goes unnoticed. Now, you might be wondering how these interchange fees are charged to businesses. Well, it's not just one entity that charges them. It's a collaboration between card-issuing banks, payment processors, credit card payment networks like Mastercard and Visa, payment gateways, and the merchant's bank. These entities collectively charge a percentage-based fee on every transaction. But here's where it gets tricky. These charges often appear as a single bundled amount on the bills that your payment processor hands you. However, don't be fooled by this apparent simplicity. Behind the scenes, many individual interchange fees make up this single interchange fee. What's even more surprising is that interchange fees are not static. They fluctuate based on factors like the costs of moving money, current interest rates, and the level of risk involved. For example, credit card companies like Visa and Mastercard adjust their rates twice a year, in April and October. Now, brace yourselves for this revelation. Interchange fees represent a whopping 70% to 90% of the total fees paid to banks by merchants. Yes, you heard that right. While there are other fees involved in credit and debit card transactions, interchange fees take the lion's share. So, how are these interchange fees calculated? Well, it's a complex process involving a multitude of variables. To simplify things for merchants, credit card companies compute interchange fees based on a flat rate plus a percentage of the sales total, including taxes. In the United States alone, merchants pay billions of dollars each year to cover these fees. On average, it comes out to about 2% of the purchase amount. Just imagine the magnitude of these transactions and the financial impact they have. In recent years, Mastercard has found itself entangled in a legal battle over its interchange fees. Antitrust lawsuits have been filed against the company, with regulators arguing that its practices are detrimental to fair competition and result in artificially high fees. The implications of these allegations are significant and have sent shockwaves through the financial world. In the United States, regulatory bodies, along with concerned merchants and consumers, have taken action against Mastercard's interchange fees. They claim that the company's practices restrict competition in the payment card industry and ultimately lead to higher costs for businesses and consumers alike. Similarly, in the European Union, Mastercard has faced scrutiny and legal challenges over antitrust violations related to interchange fees. Regulators have raised concerns that the company's practices impede fair competition, stifle innovation, and harm consumers by keeping fees artificially high. These allegations strike at the heart of the financial industry and raise important questions about the fairness and transparency of the payment card ecosystem. It's a battle between regulators, merchants, and consumers on one side, and a financial giant on the other. At the center of these antitrust lawsuits lies the belief that the interchange fees create a barrier to entry for smaller competitors and limit the ability of merchants to negotiate better rates. The concern is that Mastercard's dominance in the market gives it an unfair advantage, leading to higher costs for businesses and ultimately impacting consumers. According to industry reports, Mastercard's payment network has experienced substantial growth in recent years, connecting millions of businesses worldwide. This extensive network requires significant investment and ongoing maintenance, which is partially funded through assessment fees. However, the concern arises when these fees add up and impact the bottom line for merchants. The accumulated cost of assessment fees can be burdensome, especially for small businesses operating on narrow profit margins. As a small business owner, every penny counts. Assessment fees can eat into your profits, especially when transaction volumes are high. It's frustrating because these fees are not always transparent and can catch you off guard. Indeed, the lack of transparency surrounding assessment fees is a cause for concern. While Mastercard provides general guidelines, the specific fee structure can vary depending on the merchant's agreement, industry, and transaction volume. It's crucial for merchants to carefully review their agreements and understand how assessment fees are calculated. This knowledge empowers them to negotiate favorable terms and make informed decisions about their payment processing options. When reviewing your credit card statement, you may encounter the abbreviation APR, which stands for Annual Percentage Rate. Most credit cards, including Mastercard, typically have variable APRs. However, the card issuer establishes a benchmark. The APR represents the interest rate applied to any outstanding balance on your credit card. If you are unable to pay your monthly statement in full, even if you carry a small balance forward, interest will be added to your monthly balance. It's important to understand that although the interest charge is calculated annually, it is billed to you monthly if your balance remains unpaid. Consequently, each month, if you have an outstanding balance, you will be charged interest on that amount, thereby increasing your overall debt. Thus, that seemingly harmless swipe at the checkout counter can ultimately result in significant costs over time. It is crucial to be mindful of your credit card balance and strive to pay it off completely each month to avoid falling into the trap of accumulating interest charges. Late payment fees are an additional burden that can sneakily find their way onto your credit card bill if you fail to pay the minimum monthly payment on time. It's a double whammy because now you not only have to deal with interest charges, but also face the consequences of late payments. It's crucial to be aware that many credit cards, including Mastercard, can come with their own specific late payment fees. To protect yourself, it's essential to review your credit card agreement to understand what amount you might be subjected to. Here's an interesting fact. A credit card company can issue a late fee of up to $28 for a single late payment. That's money that could have been put to better use in your wallet. But wait, the story doesn't end there. If you happen to be late with your payments 2 times within a 6-month billing cycle, be prepared for your next late fee to increase by an additional $11. That means your mistake in managing your credit card payments can end up costing you even more. Late payment fees can quickly accumulate and put a strain on your finances. It's essential to stay on top of your credit card payments and meet your obligations on time to avoid falling into this costly trap. Mastercard, Visa, and several other credit card companies have recently faced serious allegations of engaging in price-fixing activities. Let's dive into the details. Price fixing, as many of you may know, is an illegal practice where competitors collude to manipulate prices and eliminate healthy competition in a particular market. In this case, Mastercard, Visa, and a group of credit card companies are accused of conspiring together to fix the prices of interchange fees. Interchange fees are charges imposed on merchants for processing credit card transactions. These fees are typically a percentage of the transaction amount and are paid by the merchants to the credit card companies. The allegation is that these companies work together to artificially inflate these fees, ultimately hurting both consumers and businesses. Back in 2012, after facing a lengthy legal battle, Mastercard, Visa, and the other credit card companies involved agreed to settle with the merchants in the United States for a staggering $7.25 billion. This settlement aimed to compensate the affected merchants for the losses they incurred as a result of the alleged price fixing. However, it's worth noting that the initial settlement amount was later reduced. The final amount reached by the merchants was adjusted, which could be attributed to various factors, such as legal negotiations or the complexity of assessing the exact damages suffered by the merchants. These allegations and subsequent settlements have had significant implications for the credit card industry and its reputation. The case has shed light on potential anti-competitive behavior within the industry and raised concerns about the fairness of interchange fees. The Australian Competition and Consumer Commission (ACCC) initiated an investigation into allegations against Mastercard, a major payment card network. The investigation focused on accusations of anti-competitive conduct by Mastercard in its dealings with certain large merchants. It was alleged that Mastercard offered these merchants lower interchange fees, known as strategic merchant rates, for processing credit card payments. However, the condition for availing of these lower rates was that the merchants agreed to process Mastercard EFT POS debit card payments through the Mastercard network. Mastercard debit cards and credit cards enjoy wide acceptance among a significant number of merchants across Australia. Nearly all Mastercard debit cards fall into the category of dual network debit cards, which means they can be processed using either the Mastercard or EFT POS debit card network. Additionally, Mastercard credit cards are considered a vital payment method for many Australian merchants. When consumers make purchases using debit or credit cards, the merchant incurs fees for accepting these payments. These fees are influenced by the interchange rate, which is a fee set by the card scheme. The interchange rate plays a role in determining the cost borne by the merchant for processing the transaction. In the case of dual network debit card payments, the fees paid by merchants can vary depending on the specific debit card network used for processing the transaction. This variability arises due to the ability of dual network debit cards to utilize either the Mastercard or EFT POS debit card network. Since 2017, the Reserve Bank of Australia (RBA) has been supportive of merchants having the freedom to choose which debit card network processes their contactless dual network debit card payments. This initiative, known as least cost routing or merchant choice routing, aims to enhance competition within the debit card market and reduce the costs associated with processing such payments. The RBA recently conducted a comprehensive review of retail payments regulation. As part of this review, the RBA examined competition and efficiency in the debit card market. They raised concerns about potential tying conduct by international card schemes. Additionally, the RBA outlined its expectation that least-cost routing should be currently available for all in-person transactions and be implemented for online transactions by the end of 2022. In March 2021, the ACCC accepted a court-enforceable undertaking from Visa, another prominent card network. This undertaking was a response to concerns that Visa might have limited competition in terms of debit card acceptance through its interactions with large merchants. The investigation by the ACCC into Mastercard's alleged anti-competitive conduct highlights the importance of fair competition and transparency in the payment card industry. The implementation of least-cost routing and the RBA's efforts to promote competition and reduce costs for merchants reflect the ongoing initiatives aimed at creating a more competitive and efficient debit card market in Australia. Mastercard and other credit card companies have faced criticism for their opaque and perplexing fee structures, which hinder merchants and consumers from fully comprehending the actual cost of transactions. In the realm of credit card payments, critics argue that the intricate fee systems implemented by companies like Mastercard contribute to a lack of transparency. This lack of transparency makes it arduous for both merchants and consumers to ascertain the true expenses incurred during transactions. Various fees, such as interchange fees, assessment fees, and processing fees, are bundled together, obscuring their impact and leaving merchants perplexed about the precise breakdown of costs. The intricate nature of credit card fee structures not only perplexes merchants, but also confuses consumers. When purchasing goods or services, consumers are often unaware of the hidden costs associated with credit card transactions. This lack of clarity can lead to misunderstandings and disputes, eroding trust between businesses and their customers. Efforts to increase transparency and simplify fee structures have been proposed by consumer advocacy groups. They argue that clearer, standardized fee disclosure could empower both merchants and consumers to make more informed decisions regarding payment options. By fostering greater transparency, businesses would be better equipped to negotiate fairer terms, and consumers would have a clearer understanding of the costs involved in using credit cards. Small businesses in particular bear a significant burden due to the exorbitant costs associated with interchange fees. These fees are a fundamental component of credit card transactions, where a percentage of each transaction is charged to the merchant by the credit card company. Operating on razor-thin profit margins, small businesses often lack the leverage necessary to negotiate lower interchange fees. Unlike larger corporations, they lack the volume of transactions that could potentially lead to more favorable fee arrangements. Consequently, these businesses find themselves grappling with disproportionately high interchange fees, which further squeeze their already limited resources. For small businesses, interchange fees represent a considerable portion of their overall expenses. The burden of these fees can hinder their growth and profitability, leading to reduced investments in expansion, employee wages, or customer-centric initiatives. Additionally, the inability to negotiate lower fees puts small businesses at a competitive disadvantage compared to larger enterprises that can leverage their market power to secure better terms. Recognizing the impact on small businesses, advocacy groups and regulatory bodies have called for measures to address the issue. Proposals range from introducing fee caps or tiered fee structures based on business size to enhancing transparency and promoting fair competition within the credit card industry. By implementing reforms, policymakers aim to alleviate the strain on small businesses, fostering a more conducive environment for their success and economic growth. In developing countries, the exorbitant cost of card transactions can act as a substantial barrier to achieving financial inclusion. High fees associated with accepting card payments can render such transactions uneconomical for businesses operating in these countries. Consequently, this hampers the growth and adoption of electronic payments, limiting the accessibility of financial services for individuals and hindering economic development. The cost of accepting card payments includes not only interchange fees, but also other associated expenses, such as terminal fees and foreign exchange fees. For small businesses in developing countries, these costs can be particularly burdensome due to their limited financial resources. As a result, they may be compelled to rely on cash-based transactions, which are more accessible but come with their drawbacks, such as security concerns and limited financial traceability. The world of finance is filled with captivating news and scandals, including Mastercard's hidden charges. We uncovered the controversies surrounding interchange fees, antitrust violations, price fixing, and their impact on small businesses and global economies. Transparency, fairness, and reform are crucial for a more equitable financial ecosystem. Thank you again for joining us on this journey. Until our next insightful discussion, stay informed, stay empowered, and let's strive for a future where transparency and fairness are the pillars of our financial ecosystem.